Hey everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus, continuing our Infinite Challenge with Modern Burn. As many of you are aware, this channel used to be primarily a Modern Burn-based channel, and I promised my viewers that I would continue to do Burn content as I moved along to the Gauntlet-based testing for the vast majority of the channel's content. So if you like that type of content, please continue checking in, as I will be doing various decks each week. Hopefully we'll be doing a new deck each week if I can keep up with that particular schedule. But I also promised I would continue doing burn leagues each week, and to that promise, I'm continuing this today. This is the same list we ran last time. Not a whole lot. Feels like not a whole lot of reason to change the deck, although the results haven't been the greatest. A couple core Firewalkers here just for red mirror matches. We have run into that a couple times. Have not run into any Okos in actual league play, which is weird because people are saying Oko is kind of everywhere in the format. So I'm interested to see how those style of matchups go. Beyond that, not a whole lot fancy going on here. Running 19 lands. Got 2 Skullcracks in the main, 2 in the board. There have been times we've been running Flames of the Blood Hand lately. Just kind of hard to run Flames along with core Firewalkers. So for now, we're going with this split and seeing how things go in this league. Once again, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, leaving a constructive comment down below. And let's get into the league. Back here for match number 1. We're on the draw, unfortunately, and immediately faced with an interesting keep choice of 1 land, a couple of 1-drops, some Eidolons, and some other 2-drops. I still think this is a hand's a keep, especially on the draw, because the ability to curve 1-drop into 2-drop potentially. So, Madvilla 1 New York. Interesting. Okay, another Goblin Guide. Just supposed to jam our guides and go. Reveals Thoughtseize, so maybe GDS. I feel like GDS would have had a play, right? So no Thoughtseizes. Feels like maybe Grixis Control then. Definitely would love to draw. Second land here. Of course we don't, so. Triggers. Opponent can potentially sack to get rid of that one. Okay, so now Serum Visions. Okay, so they are Grixis Shadow. Wow, very conservative start for them. Sure. Alright. So our lack of mana is going to come back to bite us at some point here. I feel like I'm supposed to chuck this at their face. Could easily have a stub here, which is annoying, but when you're stuck on 1 land, not a whole lot you can do, unfortunately. Okay, opponent is going to stub it, sure. We know they have a TBR in hand, so no reason to attack right now. Okay. let's just continue playing on our board here. No reason to attack right now. Could easily get hit by a K command here, but it's like at this point, does K command particularly matter? Like, our issue is drawing lands, not actually doing the thing. Sure. Sure. Triggers. Ooh, got a land. Serum Visions. And Serum Visions. Shocking. So, Culligan, Snapcaster Mage, Snap Stubborn Denial, sure. So no matter what, they're taking 3 here. Still might have been incorrect to attack here, as they haven't had... They clearly don't have a removal spell. Like, they have Team Battle Rage, they're gonna have a Serum Visions. So put them to 7. Going to 5 seems unnecessarily risky. I guess that leaves us exactly dead, huh? Yep, getting stuck on lands sometimes bites, unfortunately. Alright, so bring these in. Bring the Firecrafts in. Is there any reason to bring anything else in? One thing about creating your own sideboard guide is you can look it up when you haven't played a matchup in a while. Could be bringing in Skullcracks in this spot. It's just been a minute since I've played this matchup. Okay, bring out the 3 Blaze and the 3 Skewer. We have the exact opposite problem of last time. And this hand's fine-ish. Not easy to kill them always with the let's go ahead and pass here. Now, since I'm playing anything main phase, obviously they could have Summer Denial up or, you know, Thoughtseize or Inquisition us, but A lot of times you just want to hold your burn spells as long as possible, especially if they don't give us incentive to actually play them otherwise. It's kind of a weird game sometimes with Death Shadow. Like sometimes, you know, they have to get aggressive with their life total and figure out what they want to do. So here the thing is, this is a more experienced Death Shadow player, as evidenced by the fact they were very conservative with their life total and managed things just so to kill us last game. So obviously they are a very still think we run this out. If they want to kill it, that's fine. There's probably a pretty good chance this just has meets a fatal push or a bolt. Which, yeah, that's fine. Sure. So we want to leave them in a life total that's not quite... a 12. That will enable them to get a Death Shadow down, which is annoying. But it's also kind of whatever here. So currently 10 points of burn in hand. It's past turn, no reason to cast anything right now. Put them to almost dead, but not quite. See what our opponent does here. Be interesting if they stub us here. Just let this one resolve. let it resolve, please. Of course not. Would that leave me dead? Put them to 5. Be an 8/8. Gonna leave the Arid Mesa in hand simply because drawing a few too many lands here. Like I said, the problem is if we put them to 5, we're just dead to Team or Battle Rage, regardless of them doing anything themselves. So, that's unfortunate. Duress was a good draw for them. Guess Bolt's gonna kill us either way, so I may as well fetch a couple lands out of our deck. Guess this does open us up to dying to Kolagun's command. Riftbolt. If you have anything, we're dead here, so it's kind of whatever. So what we were trying to set up was hoping that Skullcrack resolved, they'd let the Lava Spike resolve, and then we could kill them with Exquisite Firecraft. But our opponent just, yeah, knew enough to play around it. So, unfortunately, off to not a great start. So, anyways, on to match number 2. So as we're getting ready for match number 2, I think the big takeaway from match number 1 is if you want to see a very good playing from the Death Shadow side, you should go back and rewatch that match. Our opponent did a very excellent job of managing their life total in killing us at the right time. Obviously we got a little bit stuck on lands in game 1. I still think that keep is perfectly defensible, especially on the draw. Having 2 1-drops, drew another 1-drop, but, you know, sometimes you just don't get there. This hand is perfectly reasonable. We have Lightning Bolt into Eidolon or Searing Blaze, just pretty good in a lot of matchups, so 3 lands, obviously not ideal. Some Mid Canyon helps mitigate flooding a little bit should we start to flood out some. So, interesting. So, turn 1, Horizon Canopy. Not quite sure what that signifies. Humans? Feels this might be humans. Sure. You get a booter. Been a minute since I've played humans. Probably take the Searing Blaze. So, obviously taking extra land off Sunbay Canyon is not good, but being able to have a fetch land to trigger certain blaze anytime we wish is good. Eidolon here likely will be reasonable, barring exactly Reflector Mage. But the hand they kept was obviously kind of like for the humans deck. One with no 1-mana plays feels very, very risky. Oh, you're gonna go with Eoled Mantis Rider and try to race. Oof. So obviously this turn is very painful for us, but it's going to be almost as equally painful for our opponent. Okay, so it looks like you'll be able to double spell this turn. Question is, what do you take away here? Oh, sure. Be my guest. Be our guest. Be our guest. Take the lightning bolt to the face. Alright, sideboarding. So, extremely lucky to win game 1 against humans because after sideboarding, the matchup, curious how the humans decks are built lately, because definitely want to take out our Eidolons, because if they have Ether Vial, it's a terrible, terrible card. And then copies of Boros Charm, because they don't interact with the board. Bring in our copies of Path, bring in our copies of Skullcrack to fight through Auriok Champions. And Searing Blood obviously can be pretty reasonable. So, the problem with the humans matchup is it depends exactly on how much they want to beat our deck. Modern humans, huh? Yeah, it still looks like they're playing a fairly healthy amount of Auriok Champions and Chem Balls. Sand's pretty good, except for our hand's going to deal us a ton of damage. Get ziggy with it. No, 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 no. So the problem we have here is we really want to get on the board, but at the same time, don't want to leave them with Dorkos if you can help it. Especially if they were stuck on one land, which it looks like they're not. And then we're going to get Thaliad here. Oop, looks like Meddling Mage, sure. Sorry. Nope. I honestly don't even care about that, but that's okay. Sure, Champion of the Parish into Thalia's Lieutenant. Yep. And I hit F6 at the wrong time. Is this Oriok Champion's going to become a... No, they have Lieutenant in hand. Yeah, it definitely might have cost us an Althalia, for sure. Yeah, we're just too far behind this game. Me skipping a turn certainly helped cost us the game, but it's possible with just the Oriok Champion and the stuff we would have been in trouble anyway. Ew. Well, this is a hand. This is a high risk, high reward hand. We have Bolt and that. We have a Path to Exile. I think this is a keep. This is, again, one of those hands, just like game number 1 against the Death Shadow deck. If we draw a second land, especially a white source, we're good. If we don't, and especially considering we're on the draw, or we're on the play, it makes it less likely we're going to hit the land, but I still think this is a perfectly defensible keep. Okay. Okay, drew a land, which is nice. So... appears our opponent might be stuck on one. Nope, there's a Ziggy. Okay. So... Dahlia's annoying. Good attack, see if they jump block here. They don't, so... Actually, what card makes more sense to hit here? Chugging them on mana I don't think is going to do a whole lot moving forward, so... Hopefully they don't have any life gain here. I think they would have run out Oriok Champion first, though, if they had the chance. Please don't be a... Anafenza. Nope, just Kemball. Okay. What's your last card? Thalia's Lieutenant? Of course it is. So that'll put them to what, 4? Four and then 6. So each one of these effectively does 1, so yeah, that's lethal. No need to overthink this. Just end the game. Alright. So obviously terrific start, got bailed out by hitting the lands. Sometimes you gotta get lucky to win these matchups, especially after punting game 2 there so badly. Anyways, on to match number 3. Yeah, we're back for match number 3 here. Been like an old school trip down memory lane here. 4 lands, mulligan. 4 lands, keep, because we get to put 1 back pretty much. So difference is double Goblin Guide, and we're only effectively keeping a 3-lander. So keep, put back 1 of the canyons, and hopefully our Goblin Guides will be kind to us. Alright, I could be getting my wish here, for better or worse. Yep, looks like I'm getting my wish. So, turn 1 Honker here. Yep. Let's turn 1 Astrolabe go. Say, they're pretty incentivized to play out any baubles or that against us. Yeah. Trigger land, trigger land. Well, not sure. Okay. Awkward. Question is, do we kill... I think we have to kill Oko, right? This is one of those, like, difficult to evaluate situations. Like, am I supposed to attack Oko, or am I supposed to just attack their life total? Because if they're making a food token and spending their entire turn cracking that, I think I'm okay with that outcome. We know they have a Mox. We know they have a Scalding Tarn in their hands. These are two of the cards in their hand. Mox is kinda useless. I don't know how the interaction with Oko turning this into... Sure. Okay. So, that's annoying. Probably crack their fetch here. Nope, no cracking of the fetch. Curious what they do with their... They're just gonna crack the food? No, it feels like they're sacking something to make a token. Could get a little bit lucky here. Awkward, but I still think we play it out. That goes to 2. So they did not keep the Emery. This matchup feels really close, and it feels like our chances to win this game are slowly slipping away. Feels like we need to close out the game this next turn. Okay. Triggers. Emery. 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 Alright. So, get the board against good old Oko. Pour out the 4 Boros charms and copy of Lightning Helix. We're not sure. Actually, they don't have Golden Goose in their deck. So... Well, we're not sure if they have Golden Goose or not. It's unlikely with Thopter Sword, but it is possible, I suppose. So, I'm going to board... Yeah, Blaze is fine against them converting food tokens, so I'm going to go ahead and still board the same way. I would against Golden Goose version of the deck, but... So, Searing Blaze is the one questionable card. Boros Charm... It's hard to cut a 4 damage spell. This hand's pretty decent. A little bit painful, but decent. Opponent's mulliganing, that's fine. Eidolon's like a really good card in the matchup, generally speaking. It's like another Astrolabe turn. Yep. Astrolabe's such a silly card. Such an innocuous card, but such a ridiculous card in what it does. Hopefully they don't have Moxen to Oko this turn. Emery is mildly annoying. Pretty sure we just have to kill that. Pretty sure they won't block here. If they do... Really? Okay. Seems like a poor choice, but whatever. Seems like a really poor choice. Targeting themselves, sure. Could easily have Thopter Foundry, they just didn't want to play into not having open mana. Okay. Sword of the Make. So now we have the problem of, do we just blow up Sword to avoid them having something for Thopter Foundry? Doesn't feel like they have Foundry though. Going to 8. Urza? Feels like an Urza kind of turn. So land is good, most spells are probably good here. Eidolon. Makes it so they can't cast most of their spells. I mean, yeah, you can activate Urza. How is that specifically worded? A card without paying its mana cost, sure. So, Whir would be unfortunate here. Whir for 2. Sure. And that's the infinite life combo. Because magic. Alright. So, not a huge fan of Rest in Peace in these spots, but I still think it's probably better than multiple copies of Blaze. Sand's fine, not exciting. Fatal Push, sure. Golden Goose. Of course, they don't show us that card until game 3. Has Metallic Rebuke and Fatal Push in their hand currently. We're about to get hit with our turn 2 Oko. This is a situation where we have to kill Oko, unfortunately. No reason to fire off this Lava Spike currently. No, two of their 4 cards in hand are Metallic Rebuke and Fatal Push. I don't know that you actually want to use the Ball War right now, friend. That is like about the worst draw we could have here. Alright. That may encourage them not to use Fatal Push. So I still have Metallic Rebuke up. Let's crack the land. No reason to play into it. Don't let them use their mana. Yeah, Metallic Rebuke up again. It's kind of annoying because now they get to make a food every turn potentially. That's equally as bad. Now they just get to gain an arbitrary amount of life, unfortunately. Game is over because they just get to effectively gain 3 every turn, and they have a counter spell. So even if we were to rip spell like that, we're just pretty much dead, unfortunately, because they just get to keep making 3 life a turn. So they get to blank every one of our draw steps and continue pressuring us. So very, very rough matchup. The version that I play tested against in the videos that'll be coming out later did not have the Thopter Sword Foundry on top of everything else in the deck, so the fact that they're able to do that, maneuver this way, very, very tight matchup, very interesting in play lines. It's probably something we could have done in Game 2 or Game 3 to win, but hard to say. Anyways, on to match number 4. Hey, we're back for match number 4. This hand, if it were like this 6-card hand, I would keep. But that extra land, just we risk running out of gas too quickly. So unfortunately it's a mulligan. Immediately mulligan into a no-lander. This hand's fine on 5. So probably want the double goblin guide. Lava spike opening, so as it put back the 2... These 2? Could run the risk of like keeping a 1-lander hoping to rip out, but ancient stirrings, so Tron maybe? Looks like Tron. Okay. So Eidolon's basically threatening to have no text, unfortunately, because they're probably going to play a map into get Tron this turn. So now I think we're incentivized not to play Tron at all. Not to play Tron. Not to play Eidolon at all. It's a lot of forests. Blast zone. Okay. Main deck, Swaggle Tusk, huh? Skull Crack, good game. Let's just end this. Alright, main deck, Swag Tusk, not quite enough there. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for our opponent. Still don't want to get cocky though, because... Alright, so... we are up against... So, looks like ley lines are starting to get a little bit of momentum now. So, I think... Still think I want the paths, the skull cracks, the smashes. I think I'm interested in the 1 copy of Wear Tear, and then obviously can go down some amount of blazes. Eidolons on the draw can be pretty suspect. And then I think the last cut might just be another Eidolon. Like you saw in game 1, we really didn't have a chance to... I mean, I guess this is one of those hands, hope they don't have a turn 0 ley line. Alright, so... that said, turn 3 Tron could potentially be a problem. So, if they don't play a sphere or a star here, I have to make the gamble of, do I Okay, there's the power plant, sure. Which they already have. So I'll have to decide is, do I risk, okay, expedition map, sure. It's obviously a risk. If they have some other way to assemble Tron, we're in some trouble. Sure. Alright, so that makes it less painful to not play any spells here. Okay. Oblivion Stone, sure. Missed a land drop, 2. So can't quite kill them this turn. Could deal them 8. I think we just continue the course here. Attack them for 1, hold up Skullcrack, and then kill them next turn potentially. Yep. Skullcrack's a bit risky here, especially if they have Nature's Claim. If they have Nature's Claim, they should probably use it now. It looks like that's what they have. But once again, they're just kind of... I say, and now they're just dead, so... that's fine. And got the match against Tron. So 2 and 2. On to match number 4. And we're back for match number 5. Be able to play. Once again, 4-lander got Mulligan. It's perfectly defensible. Probably put back. Lava Spike. Let's get Sacred Foundry here, that way we're not completely taxing our mana. It did keep 7, correct? Yep. Okay, so Merfolk's gonna be a little bit tricky. Let's pressure our opponent. Looks like they're light on lands, so another Waterlog Grove, sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. Guess we could have gotten blown out by Force of Negation there. So maybe that wasn't the smartest move in the world. Sure. A little bit revealing here that things are what they are. I don't have another spell per se, but Eidolon pretty decent in this spot. So Mer, Folk, Mist. Good game, well played. Alright, so Merfolk potentially with Oko. Um, Oko confirmed. So chalices are a possibility. Shaper sanctuaries are a possibility. Ether vial. Very interesting list. So that said, which cards are good and which cards are not good? So Eidolon, despite being pretty decent, that one is not great here. Cards I'm interested in smashes because of Ether Vials, Chalices, Okos. Could potentially be a dead card. Definitely interested in Searing Bloods because of the nature of the matchup. And Path to Exiles. Skull Cracks, could take it or leave it. Oko is really the only thing to play around there. So, guess we can board out the Skull Cracks. Beyond that, I mean, Exquisite Firecraft, potentially because of Force of Negation, but I'm not even sure they're leaving Force in against us. So I think we board like this, and kind of hope their mana punishes them again. I mean, this is a hand of magical cards. Is it good enough in this matchup? I think this is a mulligan. So we have a lot of 1-for-1 removal, but our opponent kept 7. We don't have any pressure. This hand's a lot better. Put back. Path, I guess? Path's reasonable, but we don't necessarily want to ramp them. So they have Ether Vial anyway. Goblin Guide's quite a nice good draw here. So now we have the awkward situation of white spells and Spreading Seas versus land dumps, but I don't think we want to take the extra damage for the fetch shock, especially when we have a shock coming up. So the reason we threw back the first hand specifically is the fact that it was all interaction, there was no 2-for-1s, and no pressure. So no Monastery Swift Spear, no so his list, well, it does not play Chalice of the Void, good to know about. Surprised they were willing to risk that. Do you have Force of Negation here? You do. Pitching another Force of Negation. Oko's a problem. Alright, just can't beat a fast Oko. So, still the same thing. I don't think Eidolon's that good given the situation. This hand's just not good enough. This hand's a lot better, but we really want to find a second land, obviously. Question is, what do I put back here? So I could put back, I think we put back one of the Rift Bolts. Chalice, yeah, that's annoying. So we want to get rid of both of our 1-drops if we can this turn. Yep. See if our opponent jump blocks this turn. Their Botanical Sanctum. I think we just go ahead and pass because we really want that Searing Blaze to trigger something next turn. The fact that they're, Chalice on one, or Silver Gold Depth, that's fine. Trigger, again, Island, which is unfortunate. So if they deploy Oko here, they're just dead. Sure. Maybe playing out the land there wasn't the correct thing to do. They have collected company on top of everything else? Good lord. Wow, what a strange league. What a strange, strange league. Alright, we'll be back in a bit with the wrap-up. So as we're wrapping up here, this was an example of Drakenar's deck that we were playing against. Though somehow he tried to fit collected company into this mismatch, which I think is a mistake. He already is packing way too much heat here with, I think the deck is interesting in what it's trying to accomplish, and just the fact that it has Oko, all these blue cards, 4 Force of Negations. We didn't see Spreading Seas out of him, so maybe, or her, so maybe they collected company in the Spreading Seas slot, but we did see Chalice. We did see Force of Negation, we did see Oko, we saw all these, pretty much everything else. So, very interesting deck our opponent had. Curious. So, 12 Lords. Most of this deck is pretty close to Pioneer playable. I don't know. But anyways, that was an interesting last deck to play against. So, thoughts on our list. Still not a whole lot to think about. I think the 2 copies of Core Firewalker continue to be the most potential slots. Rest in Pieces also could be debated. We did bring it in again in the 3rd game against the Thopter Foundry, Urza, 3-color, Golden Goose. Yeah, I'm still not sure how they fit all those cards into that deck, but losing to 3-color, Sultai, Food was a little bit annoying, Sultai Urza. So, it's interesting to see how people can fit so many cards in their deck, but I think if you're going to cut cards for other cards to fight Oko, I think these are the 4 that you start with. As far as other cards you could use to fight it, Fry doesn't really seem like it does enough in those spots. Although it is, of the matches we played today, Fry would have been relevant in 4 of the 5? No, 3 of the 5. Wouldn't have been relevant against a Shadow, wouldn't have been relevant against Tron, but would have been relevant against the 2 tribal decks and against Urza. So I guess you could try Fry. Rest in Peace is pretty decent in that matchup, though, especially if they have the Thopter Founder combo. So if you're looking from my particular list for cards to cut to bring in more smashes or more wear tears, or the other thing is potentially go back to the 3rd-color splash and run Cindervines again, or Atarka's Command and D-Rev. Several things you can do to fight Oko, but I'm still don't have enough testing against Oko to know what exactly the best strategy plan is, depending on the deck and the build. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I will continue to do burn content as we are continuing to do the various gauntlet matches as well. So, and I should have a video going up shortly, probably sometime today or the day after the video for this goes up, for Simic Oko versus Burn as far as a versus matchup. So that will give some people some ideas of maybe how to start attacking Oko from the Burn side. Anyways, just want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, or if you're a returning viewer, please consider subscribing, as I continue to put out Burn content in addition to all of the gauntlet testing we're doing for Pioneer and Modern. And as always, I want to thank our viewers. Don't forget to check out our Patreon channel if you'd like to help support the channel. This has been John for MTG Nexus.